Good to see ye again. I want to talk today about one of my favorite practices, and it's a practice when it comes to manifestation or spirituality in general that I think pretty much anybody can do if they want to do it, if they feel like experimenting with it. So I thought it'd be worth discussing briefly. If you don't know who I am, I've written multiple books about meditation, linking that with manifestation, mindfulness, stress management. For me, these concepts are all incredibly interrelated, and I just feel like too often they get, we try to separate them into different things when they really are very, very similar, and all can kind of fuse together into your life in a very practical way. And that's what we're going to be talking about some today, a way to simply do that. I also have a free book for you. If you're new here, if you don't have it, link is in the description, The Law of Attraction Simplified. Again, a lot of that book is just about unifying these ideas, these core principles, you could say, to make this stuff work better in your life, for you to feel better, and because you feel better, for your outer life to improve as well. So, really what I want to discuss, quite simply, is when you give yourself space to just be, as people say, right? Whether it's like, Buddhist meditation circles, mindfulness circles, the LOA space, you always hear people talking about just being, like beingness. I think Lester Levinson liked that term, beingness. And even like in stress management now, or even like some kind of therapies, like you just allow yourself to be without judging yourself. In my experiences, and again, this depends on your sensibility. I'm not saying this is something you have to do, but I think for a lot of us, especially those of us who might like kind of mindfulness type exercises already, or have had like some fulfillment through some kinds of meditation, I would really suggest, if you're trying to integrate these LOA tools into your life, and things like affirmations are not working well, or visualizations, or any of the, the highfalutin theory that we hear about all the time, if that stuff is not working well for you, my suggestion would be to simply afford yourself 5-10 minutes a day, maybe 5-10 minutes a couple times a day, where you just allow yourself to sit and just be, as they say. Because if you start doing this, you naturally start to recognize that there's kind of something behind the curtain. That's the figurative language I would use. In other words, if you sit for 5, 10, maybe 15, 20 minutes, the mind might be kind of bored. It might be judging you, but we can let that drop. We can, when I say let that drop, I mean the judgment drop. It's like, okay, my mind's still running. My mind is perhaps very critical still, or it might be worrying still, or whatever. It might be quote unquote negative still, but we can let that judgment about that negativity or that worry drop. So it's still there, right? But we're not judging it in the same way. We're just, okay, my mind's spinning. It's doing whatever it's doing. That's fine. I'm still just sitting here. I'm still sitting in the car. And maybe our body, there's different physical experiences too that might be bothering us or might feel good. We can let that drop too. The truth of the matter is I'm just sitting here. I'm just being, right? And if you do that for 5 or 10 minutes, seemingly nothing might happen. But if you do that for 5 or 10 minutes a couple times a day, or for a week or two straight, I almost guarantee something will happen. You will realize that there is, in some strange way, like silence behind the noise, energy behind the noise, something like seemingly life-sustaining that is almost beyond words, or it really, in my opinion, is beyond words, that's there. So the mind's still going. The mind's still spinning. The body's still here. I'm still Tim, right? But then what happens when that momentarily drops or shifts or something, or is silent for just a moment? I think that's what a lot of these teachings, especially the meditative LOA teachings, are getting at. Great teachers that we always talk about, like Richard Dotz, describes it as the magic feeling. Sometimes I think Richard is overly dramatic and floral in his language describing it. Then you have someone we also talk about a lot that we love, Joel Goldsmith. He just talks about, being with the presence of God, which is always here right now. Goldsmith says, listen, God, the universe, infinity, source, whatever you want to call it, is always here. And if you sit in the way we're talking about, eventually that becomes clear. You realize, oh, my mind's still here. My body's still here. My conception of myself is still here, maybe, right? But that does not mean that God is not here. God has been here the whole time. Source has been here the whole time. So it's not that like I become something different. It's more like I become comfortable with the fact that my mind's spinning, my body's here. I'm still quote unquote Tim. But still, this is all God. This is all source. This is all universe. And you can do this, again, just by sitting and being. You can also do it laying down. Some people get too sleepy doing it laying down. So, that's up to you. You can experiment. It's fine to do it laying down. You can do it with your eyes closed. For some people, they might have nice imagery. It might make them feel more relaxed to have their eyes closed. For me, I like doing it with my eyes closed sometimes, but I also often like doing it with my eyes open, especially like in the middle of the day, because it's like I'm awake, but I'm just here. I'm just being. I'm being without the normal amount of self-judgment and recrimination that I have towards myself. That's a paradigm shift. And that is the kind of thing we cultivate through doing this, for days, weeks, months, years in a row. And this is the thing. If you get used to a practice like this, if you jibe with it, if it's something that like you like, you will start to like doing it. One of my favorite things to do is just to be in the car sitting, being. That's what I was just doing before this video. That's why I decided to make this video. And you will have realizations in your beingness, right? And those realizations are that like I'm okay right now, and that there's something here, some source, something life-sustaining that is beyond my normal conception of myself. And I think when we have those moments of recognition, it's just a huge relief. And to quote William Burroughs, all pleasure is relief. And I think that relief also touches upon like great LOA teachers like Neville, like when he talks about, the wish fulfilled, like living in the end, it's like that relief. Oh, it's not a feeling like I'm ecstatic usually. It's more like a feeling of like, oh, it's done. It's over. Relief. And you can access that just by sitting and being, right? Without the judgment, who would you really be? To paraphrase Byron Katie, the great, non-dual mystic type of teacher, without your story, who would you be? Without the thought, who would you be? Just sitting like this very simply allows us to access that. So yeah, if you want help with this, if you need clarification, if you're serious, because I only talk to people who are serious about this, and you can be 16 years old or 96 and be serious about it, or you can be any age and not serious about it. But if you're serious about it, like it's in the description, we can schedule a free short Zoom call. Like I said, you can pick up that Law of Attraction Simplified book, which talks about integrating these tools in practical ways like we just discussed in this video. And until next time, you can allow yourself to be more.